Welcome. I am Crimey Queen, and if you are joining us for the first time, it's the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. This is where we are activating self love for our betterment and to grow, of course, and share. And sharing is one of the first things that we learn. We learn this even from the womb because our mothers share with us, or parents shared with each other, so sharing is really important. And that just reminds me to say if you like this presentation at the end, please click and share. Okay. All right. So I have been exploring Genesis of chapter 1 and 2 and reviewing them. And it's the quantum leap of revelations that has just popped at me with a degree of conviction, and it did happen a few years or a couple of years ago, but of course it's one of those things that I had put aside. Now I just want to sort of change the intro on here in case you have watched a couple things that is on the similar essence, and I'm just repeating myself. So basically I want to do a presentation on the number 5, which also coincides with Christ and Mother Eve, because the reason for all these is really to help us find our sense of self in Mother Eve, because this is our first place of orientation. This is our first world, if you like, being in the womb. So, being in the womb of Mother Eve and just going around, whether in all sorts of bacteria and God knows whatever else, I am really of the belief that being in the womb is a miniature version of being in the world. And for that reason, I feel that it's also important that we have a sense of resolution, a sense of where we come from, a sense of where we are at and where we want to be. So, and to do that is to really have a sense of remembering where we come from. That is so important to remember. To remember, we have been going through Genesis to remember. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to get all the answers. I don't think we're going to get all the answers that we are asking, but at least we can get to a place of resolution. This is what I am saying is important. It's getting to a place where we're at peace. We can say, okay, I know enough, then I can move on. Or I have enough tools or knowledge to help me to go on my life path. So one of the things that we learned that Christ came to die for our sins and to save us from our sins, give us salvation. And not to go on too much, but we have got this template that we work from, which is the sacrifice of Christ, meaning dying on the cross. Okay, the story we all hear of that story, so there's no need to go on too much about it. But what I have discovered is that there are several gods in Genesis of chapter 1. So, for instance, there are 9 gods in Genesis of chapter 1, and we see as well that these 9, the number 9, had been very proliferated. Christ's story had been proliferated with 9, with the number 9, or the ninth hour, or the 9. There were so many nines, and they don't seem to. I have to refresh my mind on that, but there's a lot of nines, and we know that 9 is beginning. Now we know it means the I, like the letter I, it equates here 9, or the letter R, which is both in the word Christ. And we can see, in fact, I'm just saying this now intuitively, that that it consists of Christ, meaning CH. R-I. So they are really in the middle of the word Christ. These two nines are in the middle of the word Christ. And so that meant that Christ had to go through a rebirth. The Christ in this sense is the meaning of going through a birth. That's what it is. So, if we follow the story of of Christ or Jesus in the scriptures, some of the gospels take a very long while to even mention Christ in reference to Jesus. And that, of course, is something I have sort of questioned or observed. And that is saying that there was a kind of understanding that Jesus had to go through a process where he became Christ and not just Christ. Of course, we all are born with this, with everything, but it's the process of the functions that takes place in our development that makes us um, Christ in that sense. Also, we learn, and I have been going through some of the notes that I have, that Christ equals 5 and Eve equals 5. And this is where I often say that Christ really was giving the message of Mother Eve, his teachings, even as Jesus. So he was paving the path of having the Christ spirit in him to becoming enlightened. And so in even in his teachings was all about nurturing. We see that even when the mother was beside him to say, okay, there's the banquet, the wedding banquet, and they've run out of wine. And the mother, this is the story, the mother knows that he's able to perform that miracle. Hence, we are saying the same here right now. Mother Eve here knows that we are able to perform whatever miracles that we want to become better beings and expressions of who we truly are because we are of Mother Eve. We are of the womb. So, the womb, in biology, for instance, we would learn that I think I was watching, I think his name's Bruce Lipton, a biologist, or one of those specialists, and it's like saying everything is in the womb. I may have had the references mixed up, so don't quote me on that, but it's just my way of saying, well, I did watch some professional documentary on it, and that all the bacteria and all the food, the proper food to keep the child alive, the oxygen and everything that the child could need for this 9 months is in the womb. So this is why the number 9 is so prevalent in the story of Christ as well. We see that there. So basically, the story of Christ is really about the story of enlightenment or the story of Eve, the story to teach, to nurture, protect, to guide, and guiding. This is why Christ said, no one comes to the Father but by me. So there is another thing. The word Father here also coincides pretty much with the further. No one goes to the further point but by me. So not taking away the essence of Father, um, or father, like FAR, the father someone is. No one goes to that point, the father, because in essence, I'm beginning to believe that's exactly what father means. The further, the one who is further, the parent who is further away, in the sense of that the mother is always closer, she's more protective, she's more nurturing, she's protective. She knows when her child is in pain, even when the child is away from her. And even as an adult, a mother still feels when something is going wrong with their child. They know, they can sense it. So no one goes to the Father. It's like now, it's not only, Christ is saying, well, not only that you need, it's like, because the Father is actually here as well in the head. We could say it's also in the head. So why we are saying that is that we have the cycle, father equals 31, and 31 is 4. So 4 is also foundation. So when we look at here, when we look at this point here, for instance, this is so crucial. When Christ said, no one goes to the Father, this is our template here. And no one, he's talking about the kingdom as well. So the kingdom is number 1. So when we add numbers 1 to 4, this becomes 10. 10 is kingdom, 10 is darkness, 10 is heaven, 10 is hell, 10 is mirror, and 10 has many more other words tagged to it. So if we are talking about the kingdom or the Father, which is 31, which is 4, right here as well on this scale, no one comes here but by me. There is the R and there is the I that is in the middle of the word Christ. So basically, there's the C, the H, which forms like a ladder. I always say this. The H is like a ladder. And here, there's a configuration that helps us understand that nothing is just really straightforward. But remember, when we add this here, it becomes 10. It follows that R, which is 9. That R here is a mirror image of what is necessary for you to, the necessary step that must be taken to be enlightened. For you to be able to say I, the third eye, not just these eyes here, the naked eyes, the third eye. To make reference to this eye, we need to come to the developmental stage. We need to have that free. So the free is really like a W. You need to be faced with your W. The two aspects of who you are is right here, and of course falls under the E for water, which is telling us that on this path you are still following Mother Eve. In Revelation, for instance, Revelation is really telling us that yes, there's the beginning here. There's beginning. We are beginning to understand something because we revel in whatever it is. And there's the word Eve, there's elation, elate, and those sort of words are there to help us to know that we can uncover those through these numbers, tapping into these numbers, we can find solutions to what we are seeking to understand. The other thing that happens with this number 5, when Christ says, I am the way and no one comes to the Father, this is the 4 that we are talking about. There is another point of the Father that is so crucial, because the Father, which is 4, we have two aspects. The Father is 4, but before we go on to the Father, let's look at Mother Eve, which is the 5-point star, which is what we are. We are the 5-point star. We are the head, the 2 arms, and the 2 legs. That is your head, your arms, and your 2 legs. So basically, we are this. But you have to go to the Father, meaning the Father is the one who really puts you under these commandments that you have to obey. Hence, we see from the story of Genesis, the children of Israel, they always have 2 sets of commandments that they have to obey. They have to obey these commandments, which come in two sets of fives, looking, which is really light and dark. Light and dark, meaning the polarities to these commandments. You are told to do something, but there is a light in doing it, or a punishment in doing it, and so it goes on. So, but this is the time where you have to be submissive. This is where the submission is required, and this is where the Father comes into play. So we are talking about the 4 points. So if recall that we said um, Christ is talking about Father, which is 31, and now we see that we have 1 point here, 1 point meaning, and 1 point here, just like the crucifixion of Christ. So the two legs are not spread open here, they are one on top of the other. This is the story that Christ had come to, or we say come to give. This is the story of Christ. So basically, the foot being nailed one over the other, he can't go anywhere. He can't do anything. There is no action that can be taken. Plus, we are told about the nails. Now, the nails are in direct correspondence with the hands. There are 9 points, 9 for nails and 9 for head and 9 for feet. So we see 4 9s, 9, 9, 18, 36. So 3 plus 6 is 9. And this is what we are saying here. So these 4 points, when we add them together, equals 9. And this is what Christ is, his whole thing was about, to birth this newness, to birth 9, and through that. So when he says, no one comes through the Father but by me, now that is the thing where a lot of people get things twisted, just like the God of twists with the number 8. And we have to understand we need to eat and digest the understanding like Mother Eve did. She put this whole thing in her mouth and digested it, and pondered on all the taste and elements and nutrition of this, and thought, okay, this is good to help me understand that I can open my third eye. This is what it's about. And so um, where Christ said, but by me, when we do the numerical value for the word me, which is very important, me, the things of the teaching are so simple. When we understand numerology, it offers such a simple understanding that it makes us wonder why we hadn't seen it before. So, Mother Eve is 5, and the Father, which he says, "No, but by me," is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. This is me. So, we can't really get away from Father either, because we are also Father. When we go to bed in the West, the Father is there. WEST. So that's 2, 1, and whenever we have the 5, Mother is there, Eve is there too, also. So this is 10 and 3, 13. 1 plus 3, because the West actually, in this sense, is the incubation, where, so Eve and Father, put it this way, Father and West are synonymous in the sense of numerical value. So this is where Revelation comes to teach us, because Revelation is directly 13. Revelation is 13. And I have showed a number of presentations on the dynamics of 13, which is the W, meaning you and I, we are facing each other. This is the mirror aspect right here. So the Father is 31. And here we have is 13. So there would be a mirror. This is where the father and the mother goes to sleep. Or we meet with both parents there. In 26, they would be, if we had to add them, and 2 plus 2 13s, or 4 and 4 would be 8. Now, of course, 4 and 4 is 8, and this is where, of course, we go through the cycle again. We go through the cycle. But isn't it just really wonderful when we can understand how the West works and how the East works? Because the East is where Christ, this is where the sun rises in the East. So this is where the sun is birthed. When we wake up in the morning and we see the sun burst through the clouds, this is the birth. It is birthing a new day. It is birthing new light and new life. Now, when we say new life, the word life actually is 5. So this is 5. It is birthing the new cycle of Mother Eve. So we can see throughout the day, we are there with Mother Eve. And the Father, of course, he's present because he takes on certain role, like he takes on this M as well. He's taken on the mother, the M role, the money role, the money, the mother as well in this sense. Although mother is 7, he's taken on this role from the God who created whatever it was on the 7th, who rested on the 7th day. The God who rested on the 7th day. So we can see, even with the word rested, coincides with west right here. And we see that it has the W as well. So basically, there's an interplay here, and the interplay of gender, if you like, but we won't go into this because we have seen how Mother Eve is really, particularly with Mother Eve, is really both male and female, because the shape of the 5 in itself tells you the dynamic of 5. 5 is not just like an odd number or masculine number. No, this is another thing we have learned. So 5 is really one of the most balanced number. It is that it goes this way and it curves. This is all 5. So 5 is so balanced that it has one point going forward and one going back. It has the square point and it has the curve. And so it is, and of course it is balanced here as well. So we can see that there is a wonderful balance of male-female proportion in 5, the number 5. Okay, hence perhaps this is why they said it is such a prosperous number. So the other thing I really wanted to say, well, Christ said, I am the way, the truth, the light, truth and life. Truth, so the way, the word way as well, the way equals 4. This is 7, 7, 1, 5. And that's 12, 13. So there we go with number 13 again. So Christ says, I am the way. So when we say I am, we need to remember he's making reference to mother. That's another crucial point for us to remember. I am. I am He's saying the way, way. I am way. So basically, 5, Mother Eve is still saying through Jesus Christ that I am, because when we do I am, which is 9, 1, 4, I've done several presentations on that. So we add this up, 10 and 4 is 14. This is where Mother Eve is, EVE. Let's not let anyone tell us this story, how it has been going on. So this is 5, 4, 5, and we add this together, 10, 14. So we see the direct correlation with Mother Eve on the template as I have shown. So this is 5 here. So when Christ says, yes, I am, he is speaking from the mother's perspective. Christ is saying, I am. This word, I am, were the words given to Moses when Moses asked of God, who shall I tell the children of Israel that I have seen through this burning flame? And God said, I am. I am. This is where we see for the 14 gods that when we see for of the 14 gods in Genesis of chapter 1 and chapter 2, which equals 14, it consists or include or constitute Mother Eve. And so when God said to Moses, I am that I am, which when we add all these together still comes to number 5, but the word that, which is the 13 is like God saying, I am there, the way. And I am, he's saying, I am that, the word that is 2, 1, 8, 8 representing God and 2. So we have 10 and 3, 13. 13 is the way. 13 is the west. 13 is Father when we say further, because we have been given the spirit of sound mind from God. God has said, I have not given you the spirit of fear, but I have given you the spirit of sound mind. Now, this is very interesting because fear equals 3. Now, that God there, that God, this is where we have become confused. So it's another God that has given you that spirit of fear, meaning that 3. So the God who gave this 3 here is not the God who has given the command of sound mind. Now, it'd be interesting to see sound mind, and then we could find out who that God is in Genesis. Of course, sound. So that would mean he probably was the one who here was the God of utterance, the one who called or the one who said, because that's where sound is. Okay, so it's 6, 3, 5, 4, 4. So that's 9 and 9, 18 and 1, 19. So this is 19. Okay, so that is 10. And mind is 4, 9, 5, 4. So 9 and 9, 18, 19, 22. So here we are now. This is really wonderful. So this is very wonderful. So we are doing this. 2 plus 2 is 4. So he has given you the mind is a master number. We need to remember that. It's like saying, I am the master of my mind. We need to learn to do this. So 4 plus 1 would be 5. Now that's the spirit that God have said, I have not given you the spirit of fear, but the spirit of sound mind. So this is the God of Eve right here. So basically, when he says, I am that, the that, as I say, we have seen that that has been like a pattern, an incubation, or incubator. It has the ability to fester. It is where bees nest their honey, and it has so much. It's not just 13. It can be anything it wants to be. Okay, so but we can see how all that has come about, and the that also denotes dots, like I have shown. So on this template, when we learn about I am that I am, we are talking about these dots. This is what we are. And so we see where the sound mind, even with the sound, we see sound is in the, we have the contrast. And perhaps that's where the idea of the piano comes in as well, black and white or dark and light. So I have given you the spirit of sound mind. It's this the one for music. Yes. I'm just feeling tempted to do the numerical value on music as well and see. Let's just go along with it. Yeah. MUSIC 39 39134. So this is 8. Let's do this another way. This is 10 and 7, that's 17, and 3, so that's 20. So it's 2. Okay, so 2 is actually foundation, it is rock, it is harmony, it is solid and partnership and so on. So that is another okay. 2 is also light, as we can see, because 11 is also 2. So there I have given you the spirit of sound mind. Okay, so basically, I wanted to capture the essence of this, that we have to come into submission. This is where it's like Christ is actually saying you have to be balanced. You have to um, you have to go to the Father, meaning be in the West. The West is where it's dark or where the sun sets. And actually, there's the God who set as well. So, and we can see that that being very true in the sense of this equation here equals 4, and 4 plus 4 is 8. So as we always have one half, you could say, so the Father, and we have revelation, which is the reverse of the Father. So the Father has two sides to him as well. So there we see I am that I am. So we had the fullness of the I am here in that name for Eve. So we had I am for 5, and then there was the that, but we hadn't seen the other side of the that, and then there was the emphasis I am, when we could add all this together, but he is partly hidden. So he is partly hidden. And this is where we get trapped in that other part, wherever he hides. And we have to submit ourselves to whatever pains or ailments or sins that we have committed. And I believe that's why we don't see the other side of that, or that in the name I am that I am. But having said that, we can also see that how it can conceal itself in number 13. It's through revelation we are able to uncover this and find all truth. Okay, so basically that was yeah, there are other parts to this. So the way is 13. So Christ, or Mother Eve, through Christ, is saying I am the way. So Mother Eve is actually saying I am also Father. This is, in fact, it's just come to me proper. Mother Eve is saying, I am also Father. So thank you, Spirit, for guiding me on this. Yeah. So Mother Eve is saying, I am also this. I am also this. I am also the West hair for the four hair, where you get your developmental stage, right here in the developmental stage in the West. So Mother Eve is saying, I am that. She's also saying, I am truth. Truth is number 6. We see how 6 is here reflects in these parts here. So 6, she's saying, I am 6, I am the bucket, meaning the basket, what Christ had shared. So this is really delicious now. This is what Christ had shared of the flesh and the wine and the bread. So basically, Mother Eve is saying, I am that. I am the basket. I am that which you ate. I am that which you drank. And the other part to this as well is it comes at 24 before it comes at 6. So there is 24. I am I am this, and I am also the developmental stage right there. So this is another thing. Mother Eve is also saying I am 23. So basically I am 2 and 3 here. Basically Mother Eve has shown from this, I am the way is 1 and 3, I am the truth 2 and 4, and I am life 2 and 3. So all these have been shown in this part to say, well, I am all of that. I am all of that here. And when we add all these numbers together, it comes to 5. It comes to 50, and of course in numerical value is 5. So Mother Eve is saying, I am that. That's what Christ, this is the teaching that everyone is, sorry for saying everyone, it's not everyone, but this is the teaching I had to to focus on the figure of Christ coming to die, whereas that figure had come to show that he is a representation, not just a representation, but he is the Christ form. He is mother. He's also mother. He is mother. It's no wonder there wasn't for Christ, whether he was, some people argue whether he was male, female, whether he was married or not. There is no teaching on that, and the reason for this is that he is also male and female. He is the figure 5 right here, but we are called to be that right here, and we know we are all male female, but we need to get the balance to be able to function accordingly. Yes. So yes, I'll leave you with this, and so we can always re-embark on these subjects because they interrelate with other presentations. Okay. I also wanted to make mention that the 31 as well, which is in Revelation, because as I say, Revelation uncovers things. And I'm happy for that because we see how the way and the West and Father all, Father is 31, but we see how those things come to 13. And now going back by one of the presentations I did where God asked the children of Israel for 5 different offerings, the grain was one of them. Grain equals 31. Of course, 3 plus 1 is 4. And isn't it said that the pineal um, pineal gland is like the grain of rice. I just leave you with that. Okay. And of course, it would be that which is farther. It's in the middle of the brain. So it's farther in the brain. Okay. So it's the eye that is really way Oh, so thank you very much. Thank you for watching. I hope you have found this very insightful. And if you have any comments, please feel free to leave your comments and likes and subscribe. In fact, I'm saying leave your likes as well. And do remember to subscribe and share, because sharing is one of the first gifts that we have been given, and it's nice for us to really acknowledge that. Okay, so by participating as such. Okay, so thank you. Stay well, stay bright, be ignited, be a field, because we are planting new seeds, and spill over with love.